Hey guys, Jerome here, and today I'm going to be testing the Nissan R390 GT1 in multiplayer in Asphalt 9 at Golden Max in its multiplayer season. Please consider subscribing if you have not already, and be sure to check out my Furum Clips channel, Furum TV channel, and my Purple Team Discord, all linked down in the description, and I hope you enjoy these races. Recently I made a video about this car in Forza Horizon 5 as well, which you should check out if you haven't yet, and if you don't normally watch my Forza Horizon 5 videos, give one of them a shot, you might find it quite enjoyable. I wanted to make twin videos about this car in the two games because I found it interesting how they actually differ quite a bit in terms of their performance between the two games. In Forza, the car is very much handling focused with not very high of a top speed, so it did best on circuits and twistier tracks. In Asphalt 9, on the other hand, this car drifts and handles quite poorly, and its top speed is actually quite high, one of the higher ones in Class B, a bit slower than the Apollo N, and in fact, this car can be compared a lot to the Apollo N, but is just a bit worse in all aspects. So because of that, I would consider it to be in the higher end of Class B, but it's definitely not one of the best cars in Class B. And if you have the Apollo N, you pretty much know what this car feels like. It's just basically a slightly worse version of that car. That being said, it is not a bad car. It still is pretty fast, especially on tracks like Himalayas here. It can do quite well. And if you do get this car, I think it would probably do best in Slipstream whenever one of those seasons comes around again. So this is the first video I've made in Asphalt 8 since the update has come out. The multiplayer season for this car has come and gone, and currently there is one going on for the Ajlani Jakuma. That will most likely be the next car that I make a video about. I wanted to make one about the Peugeot SR1, but the thing is, this MP2 is one of those seasons where you're not restricted by league on your car choices, so me playing in the Peugeot SR1 in the first few races of the season did not go so well. Even though I was at 1000 rating pretty much, I was still facing mostly Ajlanis in my races, and I was not able to beat them a lot of the time. I think I got maybe 2 good races out of 10 that I played, which is not really the best ratio, so we'll see if a season comes for that car in and of itself. Most likely not. However, I did manage to unlock the car, got it at 1 star, because I wanted to be able to at least get into the Drakuma special event, which I will be playing some on stream tomorrow, so be sure to join me for that. It will be at the usual time, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. And we'll also be doing the R390 Grand Prix. I got into that as well. So we've got a few special events going on. We'll be playing in the regular multiplayer, and we'll just have a lot of fun. One very interesting feature added in the Around the World update is that of wildcards. These are quite a bit different from the Asphalt 8 wildcards, which are for the car parts, and you can turn them into, well, they're separated by rarity, I should say, and you can turn them into parts for any car of that rarity. But in Asphalt 9, they work a bit differently. Instead, the wild cards are basically wild blueprints, and they are separated by not only class, but also by star count. So right now, for example, I have 3 D-Class 1-star wildcards. I can use those on any D-Class car that I currently have at 1 star, but nothing else. And my 1 D-Class 2-star card I can use on any D-Class car that I currently have at 2 stars, but nothing else. So that means these will be extremely limited in their scope, and I can't imagine they will be all that easy to get, especially the upper level ones. I think it will be quite unlikely that we will have any super easy to obtain A or S class ones like that. So while I think it's a good addition, I do think they're a bit too limited in how they're able to be used to be really all that useful, but we'll see if Gameloft starts adding them to a lot of different events. If they become a regular reward in the game, in just, you know, various events and things like that, I definitely do think they could be useful. But I hope they don't just stick with all C and D class ones for everything that's free to play, which unfortunately I could totally see Gameloft doing, especially with what they're apparently going to be doing with Club Clash now. Club Clash has always been, since its inception into the game, a very free-to-play, for the most part, event. I mean, you could use whatever car in the classes that you want. Like, I think some cases you're limited to, like, D or C class, in other cases B or A class, in other cases S class, right? And then you had some extra things that you could do where, say, you used a Porsche or a Bugatti at 4 or 5 stars, you would be able to get more points in a given race in the Club Clash. Well, apparently now they're going to be limiting the car pool even further on some select races, possibly the bifurcations or the ones that are a split basically, where you can choose which way to go, to only be certain cars, and sometimes the cars that they choose will have a pay-to-win car as the best car choice for that specific race. So this means that in some cases, even Club Clash could become pay-to-win. We'll have to see how this really affects things in the end though. I have not run into it myself yet, but I definitely will be interested to see how this affects Club Clash as a whole. I made my first Clash currency purchase today, which was the final blueprint I needed to 2-star my Volkswagen IDR, which for some reason the game calls the Volkswagen Electric R. Beats me where Gameloft gets their names sometimes, especially since they call it the right thing in Asphalt 8. But I digress. Yeah, I spent my first Clash currency on that, and most likely the second thing I will buy is the key for the IDR. Because the thing is, the credits and blueprints for many of the cars are so expensive, like for the Jesko and the Agera RS, which is the new big Clash car that you'll only be able to get in the Clash shop. Thing is, you can't actually even get the key for it right now that I can see. Can't get the key for the Jesko either, although you can get epics for it. So, yeah, I'm just gonna buy the key for the Volkswagen whenever, I guess, this Clash season ends, which is kind of insane. It's like 70 days or something like that, so it may take a while. But gonna try to get that car so I can add another car to my collection. The 121st, I believe. The 120th was the Peugeot SR1. And look at that, now we're into our final race in the video, racing against another Legions United member, and with that, I'll give my general review about this car. I did enjoy driving it in its season. I didn't hate it like some people seem to. It's not that bad either. It just feels kind of mediocre to drive with the drifting. But if you think of it kind of like a slightly worse Apollo N, you're basically going to know what this car feels like, and that's pretty much how it will perform as well. Its top speed is pretty good, around 240, but other than that, there's really not a whole lot of standout about this car. The nitro efficiency isn't great either, so I would say mainly skip this one. I mean, go for it in this Grand Prix if you want to, just don't spend a lot of tokens on it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, Minecraft, and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!